Welcome back, crypto enthusiasts. So in today's video, we are going to cover Kaspa, its recent price action, and of course, a couple of interesting charts for Bitcoin and alts as well. So if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. And of course, a quick disclaimer that this video isn't financial advice. You should do your own due diligence and research before investing into any cryptocurrency. So without any further ado, let's hop into Kaspa itself. Kaspa is currently trading at 14 cents of a dollar, and it saw a rise of 2.8 in the last 24 hours, which obviously is not a lot. However, it is good. Market cap is currently sitting at $3, 1 cent billion dollar, well, almost 3.2, and 24-hour trading volume is sitting at 53,556,000. So the first thing that I would like to show you guys is which cryptocurrency is going to do well like Bitcoin in the video. Bitcoin going down and up, going on. This guy asks, okay, hello, have a question. Are there any guesses on which cryptocurrency will take off like Bitcoin? So let me get this straight. Do you want me to give you the name of a cryptocurrency that will go up 44,000x over a span of 12 years? Okay, I'll bet you, even if I did give you the name, you wouldn't hold it for those 12 years. You'd probably sell it, and that's why you lose money and not make anything. Kaspa?
Yes.
Kaspa. So basically, I don't know. I'm not sure if you know this guy, but that's basically you, Mr. Dave Vinci. You can find him on YouTube. And basically, he was investing in BTC 10, 12 years ago. And he was basically advising people to buy $1 worth of Bitcoin 10 years ago. So obviously, I'm pretty sure that his advice now, Kaspa's advice, is pretty much accurate too. Of course, not financial advice, right? I'm not telling you to buy Kaspa unless you really do believe in the project. So on top of that, trading titans are set to command 2024 bull run. Kaspa $5 target. Wow, that would be great, obviously. So let's move to this piece of interview with Mr. Charles Hoskinson, founder of Cardano, which is basically talking about Kappa. Before I'm going to hit play, I would like to point out one thing that if somebody like Charles Hoskinson, which is a head of a big project of Cardano, is talking about a project like Kaspa that is relatively new on the market. That is a big thing, I believe. And also, correct me if I'm wrong, but Vitalik Buterin was mentioning about Kaspa as well. But all right, without any further ado, let's hop into that video. Yeah, Ghost actually is a D-style architecture in Ethereum. Yeah, IOTA is the big one at the moment, and it's a fascinating project, and it's some very smart minds working on that too, right? So briefly, what we want to do is we want to research Spectre, which came from OB Zohair and Itsky, and extract it from Spectre specifications and see if we can pull it into a production cryptocurrency like Zcash. Now that's the CPIPO floor. Spectre, no. Spectre's a little bit older. Vector upgrade for Ghost. Yeah, you know, that's the problem, is that you come up as a super cool name for your product. Somebody steals your damn names. If you Google Spectre Zohair, obviously, basically it's the upgrade of the prior work that they did, which was Ghost, which was what we used in Ethereum. The point is that you can make many blocks in parallel and that you can have a different way of structuring data and structuring transactions so that you can get as much scalability as possible and your entire network reaches eventual consistency. But you don't necessarily need to have strong consistency in the beginning, right? With mining, you kind of have a few parameters that you can adjust to speed up the system. The one that's probably the most prominent is block interval. The Bitcoin has a 10-minute block interval. All right, so this wasn't chosen randomly. It appears that Satoshi actually did some data science work, and he realized that if you decrease the block interval, the probability of two people finding a dead block at the same time, the same block at the same time, or say equivalent blocks at the same time, they'll be different. Their hash value, but they basically are both valid, is going to increase dramatically. Okay, what does that mean? It means that you now have a competition because one part of your network sees Alice's block first and one part of your network sees Bob's block first. So one part thinks Bob is the leader and one part thinks Alice is the leader. Now, what Toshi said is that for this block competition scenario, some people are going to work on Alice's block and some people are going to work on Bob's block, and whoever gets a block built on top of their block first becomes a legitimate blockchain, and that other block gets discarded. So that means all the work, let's say Bob did, is wasted, and all the work that people invested to build on top of Bob's block is wasted, you know? So orphan blocks are really bad. It's not a good thing. So, is there a way you can pay orphan blocks a part of the block reward or something like, well, that's exactly what Ghost was all about, which said, okay, hang a second here. Why don't we call these guys uncles? So there's this guy and we're just going to pay all of them, right? So we'll give the primary CH longest chain we'll give them the bulk of the reward, but then these like other blocks here, we're still going to put them in because they're useful and they're going to be approving different transactions than Alice's block. And we're now not wasting as much work. So what does that mean? We can shrink the block interval. All right. So we can go from 10 minutes, wonderful, to seconds to maybe even subsecs. And the whole network doesn't have to see all the blocks before we get working on the next block because it's okay to build in different directions now. The problem is that it turns out that Ghost wasn't enough to completely solve this type of problem, where Spectre is an attempt to take it on steroids and put rigorous mathematical foundations behind it, building a whole theory of how you can build this web of blocks instead of just one chain. So basically, to my understanding, that is improved Bitcoin, right? That's what Mr. Charles is referring to, basically. Instead of making that one straight blockchain, Kaspa is basically having that block D technology, which is obviously improved and safer, faster, more scalable, etc. So I am impressed that people like Charles are basically talking about Kaspa, etc., which is very good for Kaspa advertising, basically, right? If big heads in crypto are basically talking about Kaspa, that is going to be going to raising more and more awareness. But all right, let's have a look at this thing over here. There is a little bit of more development going on a Kaspa currency. So even more epic work is being cooked up in the Kaspa Light Cafeteria. Just completed a 6-page mathematical proof of a mass formula, which is one of that hunt prevents dust attacks from bloating. So basically, according to my understanding, that improvement is going to prevent any potential hacks on the network, which is obviously good. And Kaspa is improving in terms of that as well. But now finally, let's have a look at the Kaspa dashboard itself. So as of today, 78.9 is currently mine, and the current reward is 131 Kaspa. The next reward is going to be 123, and the next reduction is scheduled in 22 days. So if I'm going to pull out this chart over here, that is going to represent things more closely. That is basically difficulty of mining. As we can see, that chart leads us back to August last year. And as we can see, every single time miners are basically getting cut in terms of rewards. That is increasing the difficulty for miners. And what comes to that, of course, the price increases as well. So that looks very, very beautiful. And we can just imagine what is going to happen in 1 or 2 years' time at the peak of the bull market. But all right, let's finally have a look into case charts. So that is daily, guys. And as we can see over here, Kaspa is being rejected from that line of resistance at upper levels of 14 cents, 147. And I don't think this is really necessarily, okay, so why do I think, wait, let me go back a little bit. And as we can see over here, Kaspa basically saw all-time highs back in September 2020. Let me pull this out. That is going to be that time. Then we had this consolidation over here and downward momentum, just like we saw over here, right? All-time high consolidation and downward momentum. Right then we broke up and we got rejected of that resistance over here, just like we are being rejected right now. So then Kaspa experienced sideways price action and a little bit of consolidation, and then huge breakout to the upside. Basically, we could expect that breakout to the upside very, very soon. Of course, there are many other things that also signal that Kaspa might see new all-time highs and new price discovery very soon as well. And why do I think that? First of all, Bitcoin broke above that line of resistance at roughly 48, a zero. This is very important. However, there's another level that I would be looking for Bitcoin to break, and that is going to be around 51, perhaps 52 in that area. If Bitcoin is going to close a daily candle about that above that area over here on 52K, that is going to give Kaspa much more of a light to shoot up. But all right, let's have a look at this chart over here to put ourselves into perspective. That's, first of all, for Bitcoin is likely to follow its footsteps of gold. When the ETF was launched, so we can just imagine how much money it's going to be flowing into Bitcoin. And of course, olds as well. Now, if we are talking about alts, first of all, the altcoin market cap has broken out of a massive woe of accumulation pattern. So as we can see over here, we are pretty much leaving that phase D and entering phase E. And obviously phase A is going to be a parabola. As we can see over here, altcoin market cap reminds me to previous bull run when price broke out of the downtrend and it was consolidating above the point of breakout for 14 to 15 weeks before it went vertical. So first of all, shout outs to the Sculpting Pro on X or Twitter, however you want to call it. And as we can see over here, we are basically in the same area as we were in the previous bull cycle, which of course we might see a little bit of a dip, but it's kind of obvious what is going to come in the coming weeks and months. Let's have a look at this chart over here. So many people seem caught up in a short-term price action. The bigger picture looks incredibly bullish. As we can see over here, we are in that green zone similar as in the previous bull cycle. And we also have a bullish cross on the mag coming in. So that's a very, very good for Kaspa. So what do I personally expect for Kaspa in terms of price action in its short-term future? As I would say, I would probably expect around 20 cents of a dollar in the coming days. But of course, I could be wrong. That isn't a financial advice. All right, then. All right, then. That's it for today's video. Thanks for watching my video. Keep supporting my channel. See you all in my next video.